live. Yay! 10, 9, 8. Hello, are we on live? Yes, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy weekend. Happy Saturday. And I'm very happy to share with all of you here today on this very, very important topic. Yeah, on healing, past traumas or current traumas and abuse through the energy of love and respect. Yeah. So I just, before I introduce our special speaker and our special sharing for today, I just like to share a little bit about what I do. You know, I'm the co-founder of Love and Respect Transformation. We have a One Health One model. Every training, coaching, and any paid events that we are involved in actually is channeled to the training and also the coaching of marginalized communities. Right now, we are working with refugees. I think 80% of the work that we do are for the marginalized communities in Malaysia. 80% of them are refugees, and the rest of them are from the low-income urban, the urban poor generally. So this is what we realize also through the work that we do. And I have done coaching and counseling and training for students, for CEOs and business owners, and also for prison inmates, for people in refugees who has gone through trauma. And it is a process. It is not like an overnight thing that people, the next day they're suddenly okay and everything is fine. It is a process of transformation, and it can heal. When certain people live with pain that they have kept from in the past, like abuse or trauma, this is what I realized. It affects a lot of areas in their lives, like their relationships that they attract, the money, the kind of money ceiling that they achieve. They cannot get beyond a certain ceiling, and they keep attracting the same negative cycles over and over again, either financially or in terms of relationships. And when I work with my clients, it is all going back to instilling love and respect within. The main thing is forgiveness, yeah, instilling to practice forgiveness, and that is how people get to heal and move forward. And again, it is not overnight; it is a process, and that's why you have a lot of you who follow me, who are on my Instagram, Facebook, and in some of my other communities. You know that what I stand for, the work that I do, right? And some of you say, oh, Mushida, you very lucky, you know, you managed to get your 2 ringgit to 20,000 in 20 weeks, in less than 2 weeks. People like me, very difficult and all that. You know, I am not the only one. When I let go of negative emotions and trauma, I'm not the only one that succeeded. There are people out there with real issues bigger than mine. They go through even bigger challenges than me. And they have come out on the other side, and they are living happy lives and content. And not only that, they are adding value. They are creating social impact. They are helping other people, and they are loving, and they're not angry all the time. You know, they are loving. They do good through all their experience. And that's why I'm very grateful that I got Pamela here to share her story with all of you. Now, Pamela is not somebody like you see her right now. You say, oh, you know, she's so successful, and you know, she looks so okay. You know, not like me. I'm going through so much challenges and all that. You know, she looks so happy. Okay, she can do it. I can't. You know, if you listen to her story, you may be amazed at her own journey, her background, and if she can come out on the other side. And I'm sure some of you who do not go as bad as her experience, like your life experience is not as traumatic as hers, or even more traumatic. I'm not saying that your life journey is anything less than any one of us. But if Pamela, having gone through that path and has come out the other side, smiling and adding value and doing business and helping others. If she can do this, I'm sure a lot of people like yourselves also can, right? For whatever challenges that you face right now. And mental health is a very major issue that we face a lot in our communities right now. And just recently, I was speaking to multi-millionaire businessman. He connected with us. He wanted to know, our developments, how we're doing in our business and all that. And he was sharing in just the last month, 3 of his friends committed suicide. And it's a shame because it doesn't have to be that way. And these are not people who are young. These are people who are running multi-million dollar businesses themselves. They have staff, families, and they committed suicide because they don't know how to handle the pain. They don't know how to go through the pressure. And mental health is a real case, is a real issue, and it's not something that you have to be ashamed about, right? So we're bringing up this topic up here in the open, in public, and we'll be creating watch parties as well with this video. And not only that, we will also be supporting the Kebaya Run, because of this topic, which is ending violence against women. The Kebaya Run is, if you're not sure, you can Google the Kebaya Run, or you go to www.mwm.my, or you can directly, if you want more freebies and consultations, you can get in touch with me, and then we'll tell you how you can use that donation, not only to give others, but also benefit yourself in terms of your health. And we're also supporting Jewel Malaysia, which is the Johor Women's League in Malaysia, because they help shelter and handle. They also help take care of a lot of abused women here in Malaysia as well, especially abused women and children. Okay, so with that, I am now going to pass the stage over to Pamela. Okay, I'll do a short introduction about Pamela. Yeah, I've known Pamela actually quite a long time, not recently, right, Pamela? Quite a long time already. Yeah, we met, I think like some 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So Pamela is, she's an entrepreneur. She's a business owner. She's also an author. She is the founder of VT Results Private Limited. She's based in Singapore. She is the author of the book called Love Heals. I read the first chapter, and already the introduction was very heartwarming. As you know, it's very well written, and if you can get the whole book as well, right? And it's a very good title, Love Heals, How I Turned My Life Around. Okay, and her story has been featured in local as well as international media. She has been through multiple suicide attempts and many challenges in her life. Now she is an emotional healing coach, and she would love to help others on their journey to have freedom and breakthrough in their lives, right? So this is something that, you know, you may think that, oh, okay, somebody with going and all that, you know, how do you heal, how do you overcome? And that's why the best person to share is someone who has walked that journey and who has gone through the darkness and into the light, and now giving the light and sharing the light over to others. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Pamela. Give her a round of applause, everyone. Yay!
Hello, hi everyone. Thank you, Mushida, for actually inviting me to actually talk a little bit about my story. So I think my journey began 20 years ago. I started off as a very young entrepreneur in my 20s, and back then, being having no experience in entrepreneurship, and I also didn't know how to manage business. I went into business partnership with a friend who told me that, oh, you didn't really need much money, much capital, and everything to start a business. So I think was what happened was she actually kept calling me and kept persuading me, and in the end I finally agreed to the partnership. Was Not so much on because I think it was also because back then the job market was not in a very good shape. It was a recession time. And I thought, why don't I just give entrepreneurship a try? And so that was how I started. But I didn't realize that it was a very, very tough journey. And back then, without mentors and without people to help me, I I really and and also what happened was my friend who actually invited me to be a partner back then, she eventually left. She eventually left because of her own personal reasons. And she left me alone, not knowing what would be my next step in that entrepreneurship journey. And it was really very tough. Of course, I had friends who introduced me someone else to be my partner at that time. We were trying to make things work. Unfortunately, things didn't work for me. I went into depression. I was, subsequently, I did met up with some friends, a so-called friend who said that he wanted to help me. Back then, I went into some debts already because of the business, because of um, my ex-business partner who suggested that we rent a bigger office, which we didn't need it at that time. So I made that mistake. I rented the office, which I couldn't pay for the monthly rental. When we didn't have the business going, we didn't have money coming into our business. So there were many mistakes that I made that eventually led me to depression. And when I met this so-called friend who claimed that he's going to help me um, through some investment programs to get that money back, I was at a very emotional and vulnerable stage at that moment. So I kind of trusted and believed in what he said. However, he was the one who got me into bigger debts because he literally cheated me. He conned me. The money, it was all for his own personal personal personal. Okay, okay, right. It's all for his own personal selfish reasons, lah. Yeah. Okay. All right, right. Okay, so this is my son. All right. Okay, you say hello. I say. All right. I need to come. This one. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah. So this is how I ended up in even bigger debts because at that moment I have not just been borrowing from banks. I also borrowed from friends. And it was a very traumatic thing for me because I think for me was I didn't have many friends already. Back then, because I was trying to borrow so much money from multiple friends that I lost a lot of trust from friends, even my family members who threw me out of the house. So I also made a mistake. I made a mistake by stealing from my mom. And that eventually led my brother to come to me and take back the keys for my home. And so I became homeless, jobless, and penniless at one point in my life. And it was very stressful and it was very sad for me going through whatever I went through. I was trying to get a job back in the job market. I did eventually get, but I was not able to. I was not able to sustain a job, not because I wasn't willing to work, but because the so-called friend who was the con man actually harassed me to an extent that I couldn't even stay in a job, and eventually I lost my job. So it was out of a lot of desperation, a lot of things that I went through. I needed money to survive. And at that point in my life, I remember at the lowest point in my life, it was really that I had no way to go, and I didn't know how I could move on in my life. And when I was in an internet cafe talking to people to look for a way out, you know, it was also back at that moment when I got this suggestion of kind of selling my body to have that money coming into me. Yeah. So it all happened, and of course back then it wasn't a choice that I wanted to make and to move on in that path. However, due to many incidents and situations, and because I really needed the money to survive, and I can remember, you know, back then, I am very, very grateful now for everything, every single thing that I have in my life, because I remember an incident where, you know, I'll only afford a burger at $1. It was a McDonald's, and that was like a meal for me. And it was like I was happy to just even have $1 burger as my meal back then. So these were the trying times that I actually went through. And fast forward is I was very, very lucky. I'm very, very blessed because in my journey of multiple suicide attempts and being into depression, I actually met my husband. You know, when we first met, he just wanted to take care of me. So he saw that I was not able to afford a decent meal. He would buy me decent meal. And when he saw that I couldn't afford to even see a doctor when I was sick, he brought me to see a doctor and paid for my medical expenses. And when there were times when I was homeless, he would even check me into a hotel for me to stay in one night for me to have a good rest. So there were things that happened that was a turning point when I met him. It was I think it was the best thing that ever happened to me. He was the one that has been with me until now, and now we have 3 beautiful boys. And I'm really very grateful for him. If not, I wouldn't had the chance to go on my healing journey. So I went back to corporate work for many years. In 2009, when I was so stressed out and burnt out in my corporate job, because there were so many office politics and there was so many backstabbing, you know, in the corporate office, I was literally crying in my office toilet, and I was calling my husband. I was telling him, I think there must be a better way out for me. I'm so stressed out. I'm literally burnt out, and I don't think I can continue staying in this job, be so stressed. And every month I would fall sick because of the stress. And so in 2010, after I took my bonus, I actually threw in my resignation letter and decided to come out and look for a better way out for me. And that was also a transformational journey for me, where I met many mentors, I met people who are healers, and that started me on my massive healing journey to bring me to where I am today. So I think it's really wonderful that with every healing or with every workshop that I learned, techniques that I could use to heal myself, every time I started healing myself, I could experience major shifts in me in my life. Yeah, I have never thought that I would become an author or a speaker or an entrepreneur again. But you know, every time I went into a workshop using the techniques to heal myself, I felt more empowered. to move one step forward. And it was because of all this healing that made me a different person from who I am last time. And I think some of my friends who knew me, they would know that I have totally changed to be quite a different person from who I was previously. You know, I'm now able to, because I had to let go of all my emotions, right? The past stuck emotions that was blocking me from achieving my life. The moment I let go of many emotions and many circumstances, I free myself. And the moment I was able to free myself, I could had I was able to start being a speaker, which was quite amazing on stage. And I mean I am basically an introvert, so I usually don't, you know, I'm not someone who would be you know, going out so easily to make friends or just speak to people. But I guess because of my story and because of my journey, I realized that when I started sharing about my journey and my story, a lot of people got connected to me, and they were asking me how I did it and how I could help them with their journey. And that is what I want to be able to go out there and do more and impact on more lives, because I realize how important it is that if we are able to heal ourselves, we are able to free ourselves from whatever that circumstances that we are going through. And that is when you are empowered. And when you are empowered, everything is possible in that moment. You can be, like for me, I would never have dreamt to be author, to be speaker, to be entrepreneur, and a mother of three, and you know, having a very happy life. And you know, there was a stage when I remembered that I didn't know about this word called friends, because I never had friends, because I never knew how to trust people. But now I have amazing people who are my friends, who are always there. If I need help, they will be there for me. And I learned through my healing journey, I learned to trust. I learned to have faith. Um, for me, it's God. So for you, whoever, it can be the universe, it can be Allah, it can be Buddha, it can be anything. I learned to have faith and trust and just move on step by step in my life. And that is a very tremendous journey for me. Yeah. So I'm not sure what are the situations that's happening to you, to any of you out there. But I believe that no matter what the situation is, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. As long as you do not give up, you God will find a way to help you. Yeah. So that is what I truly believe in, because I've experienced it in my own personal journey. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. That is a beautiful story, and yeah, the journey that you have gone through is really, I don't know if a lot of, like, I cannot imagine myself going through that kind of pain and desperation. So you've managed to live through those years and come out on the other side. I'd like you to, if you can share, Pamela, on you know, you mentioned that you have had multiple suicide attempts in your life, and I also work with people who have gone through that suicidal thoughts, you know. But what would you say are the key things that people need to shift that mindset, and what helped you to not continue trying to you know, commit suicide?
I think what I realized that self-love and self-care are two very important factors which especially for women, I realized that women, we always tend to put priority in our husband, in our family, in our children, in everybody else first, and they will tend to neglect themselves. But I realize self-care and self-love plays a really very important part in our life, because only when we are able to love ourselves and take care ourselves, and we are at a very good stage, then will we be able to love and take care of others in a better way. Yeah. So my advice is, especially for a lot of women out there, please spend some me time with yourself. Have that me time to, you know, to just be happy, just do the things that you love. And that is very, very important, because if you're not even able to sustain yourself, then how would you be able to even take care of your loved ones, your family, your children, and everybody around you?
Absolutely. Okay. As this is posted on Facebook, I welcome any questions that you all may have for Pamela. And thanks, Pamela, for that sharing. Now, I'd like to also invite Zil, who will also be sharing on, his experience dealing with trauma and abuse, and also will facilitate some of the questions for Pamela as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Mushida. Okay, Pamela, thank you very much for sharing. I'm very inspired by your story as well. I can relate to you in somewhat. Maybe our story is a bit different, but I have gone through sort of a similar event when I was small. In my primary days, I was a very happy young kid. I was very happy, very joyful. But what happened to me when my father was a diplomat, and we actually went to study overseas. So if you know, overseas education, especially international school and local education, is totally different. It's like 180 degrees kind of thing. So in international school, I get to express myself a lot. We do a lot of sharing, a lot of public speaking, and I really enjoy, because like the syllabus are not exam based. It's not exam oriented. It's like there are some marks for exams, maybe 30-40% the most, but the rest is all group project and things that you can do to be able to get, like you say, you propose to the teacher, I want to do a social project to help somebody or help the poor, is also included in my marks at the end of the year. So for me at that time, I love learning. I look forward every day to go to school. I was very participative. And then there was, when I was, I think, my primary 5, my father said, oh, he doesn't want to become diplomat. He wants to end his service and he wants to go back to Malaysia and be stable there, So I said, okay, never mind. We all went back to Malaysia, and he enrolled me in the normal public school. So in the public school, it's a totally different way of teaching, environment, energy is very different. Like, for example, right, the things that I used to do in international school, where we can even like debate with the teacher, we can argue, debate, as long as very mutual respect and also based on facts, the teacher allow you to like debate with them. They don't take it personally. But in my normal school, public school, I will get scolded for even asking questions. Can you imagine? So, and then when the teacher would scold me, punish me, and then people, the kids in my school, they see me very different. I speak Malay with an American, like an accent. It's a very very different. It's not like a Malay, but it's like saya datang dari, that kind of very funny kind of. So I was bullied almost every day. I was bullied in school, So when I was bullied, what happened to me was, I went into that downward spiral where I don't want to mix with people. I was always the kid alone eating lunch, and I don't mix with people. And then and it became so bad that to a point that I had a phobia. I had phobia even meeting people one-to-one to that point. And then I remember my late mother used to force me to go out just to buy groceries, just to get me to go out and interact with people. It was that bad. Even that one-to-one, I did not dare, And then what happened to me, all throughout my life, all throughout my journey of primary and secondary school, I was like that. I don't dare talk to people. I don't dare even like present in front of the class. If teacher asked me to share in front of the class, I'll be like sweating. I'll be like having fainting spells a few times. So it's but what happened to me, what changed my life, turning point in my life was when I was in university, I went to a camp. It's called Camp Bina Insan. It's like a boot camp, a motivational camp where, you know, all the people in university, college, they actually go to that camp to orientate, to become better. It's like a self-development camp, you know. So what happened was, the story was, every beginning of the camp, the facilitator will ask you, the groups, to choose a leader. So, okay, this faculty from engineering will school choose a leader, nominate a leader. Then my faculty, hotel and tourism, will nominate a leader, and few other faculty. I think about 300 to 400 people. So what happened was, my friends, they know that I'm like that. I'm very scared and I have a lot of fear of people. They play a prank on me. They actually nominated me to become a leader. So then everybody had a chance. I go to the front. I must become the leader because, you know, they all give their very nice speech, you know, all very motivation speech. But my turn came. I said, no, cikgu, teacher, I cannot. I give 101 reasons why I cannot become the leader. And then you know what happened? I was still chosen to become the leader. You know, like at that time, I did not understand why, but later I share when I conclude this story, you understand why, you know. So our first task as a leader, my first task was to give a motivational speech in the morning. The next morning, I was supposed to brief and give like a you know, that kind of very energy, very motivational speech to the students and all the camp. And it was the worst moment of my life. If you have a fear of phobia 1-to-1, if you have to speak in front of people, it's like times 100. You know. So the whole night I couldn't sleep. I was writing down my script, memorizing my script. So the next morning came, the facilitator gave their briefing, and they called me. And that point of time, I was like, it was the worst time of my life. I was so scared. I was shivering in my pants. I was sweating everywhere. I came to the front and I was about to say my few words. I memorized the whole night. I went blank. I don't remember a single thing. Even the starting line, sentence, I don't remember. You know, so that I was like, I started going into this panic. Like, you know, like any of you have any experience of doing public speaking, if you forget your words, that's the worst. You will go into that panic. Like, I started hearing noises in my ear, that kind of noise. And then I started seeing, like, from a clear vision, blur, and it became black, it became red. And in my mind, I said, this is a sign for fainting. I said, if I faint, it's going to be very embarrassing. So in my mind, I was playing over and over again. So what should I do? What should I do? I'm going to faint. It's going to be embarrassing. There's some very beautiful girls in front, and I'm going to be embarrassed. You know, then I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I shouted, ah! I went like that in front of the whole 300-400 people. And everybody looked at me like they were so shocked. Who's this crazy guy shouting, you know? And then I looked back at the facilitator. Some of them looked angry, shocked, and some of them looked disappointed, you know? And then I said, I wish that time the ground would just open up and swallow me up, you know, and just you know, I wouldn't be there, you know? So then I think it seems like an eternity, you know, that incident. But after that, I remember a facilitator came towards me, a very big army guy, a very nice mustache, you know, he's coming towards me. I said, this one guarantee he'll ask me to do at least 150 to 100 push-ups, you know, or punishment. No? So I was ready for it. And what happened after that, he came to me and he actually came and hugged me. He came and hugged me like this. Like that, you know. So I was shocked. I said, hey, I just did a mistake, and the facilitator hugged me. And but what he said next that actually changed my life. He said, Ade, if you learn from this mistake, you're going to be a great man. So I said, I just did the most embarrassing thing. How can I become a great man? But he saw something in me that I did not see. He saw potential in me, and he didn't see the bad thing, but he saw the good things in me, and he gave me that chance. And because of that chance he gave me, I decided there and then, I told myself, because somebody showed me love and respect and did not give me unconditional love and did not judge me, I decided I want to change my life at that moment. No, I told myself, if I tell you seriously, if the facilitator came to me and asked me to do 100 push-ups, today I'll probably be a juvenile, I'll probably commit a lot of crimes, or I'll commit suicide. Because it was already in my mind. I said, what's the point of life? You have friends who backstab you. I cannot even talk in front of people. I felt like very low self-esteem. I even considered committing suicide. But because of this one person who gave me unconditional life, it really changed my life. So that's what I'm doing now. Now I'm paying forward. Like I meet, even like we have done program for punk kids on the street. We meet them for people, homeless people. I never judge them. I always talk to them and hear their story first. Maybe they have gone through circumstances that we don't know about. And true enough, 90% of the people that we meet, they are circumstantial. That means they got cheated. They came from outstation to get a job in KL, and they got cheated. The agent did not give them a job, and all the money gone, and that's why they became homeless. So what happened to me, how I was able to overcome my trauma and of being bullied and all that, I went on a series of self-development. I started reading self-development books, like the old Zig Ziglar, Stephen Covey, and all these self-development gurus. I used to read that book a lot, and I started going to seminars. And one of the things that I practice myself, right? Sometimes I go to a seminar, a few hundred people, even thousands of people. I force myself to share. Even though I want to vomit, I want to, like a lot of feelings, like all this, I force myself to share. And over time, when I started sharing, I started getting more confidence. Of course, now when I go in front to speak, but I still feel nervous, but I don't have that kind of like want to vomit or that kind of feeling. I feel after speaking, like I speak in front of people, I can feel the people's emotions when I talk to them, because I've been through that. I can feel people's emotions. I can see things in slow motion when I talk to people in a crowd, and I feel that is my passion. That's what my calling is. So for people who are out there who are actually going through this kind of challenges, whether you are thinking of I want to just end it all because nothing matters, because I've been there before. I've been homeless as well. Like Pamela, I've been homeless. I was in 2006, I was homeless. And also that time, I also was considered, want to commit suicide. I was in a foreign country, failed business, couldn't get a job. And then I became homeless. But what got me through it was a lot of self-development. I remember I listened to a lot of self-development, including Les Brown. Les Brown also was homeless. So I heard his story, and he was living in his office. I felt empowered. I said, okay, I want to, if other people can do it, I can do it, But what I learned from a lot of my experience, including being bullied, being all the experience I shared with you, being homeless, right, is I learned to have faith in God. Because God created you. God is full of love, full of abundance. If He put you to something, it's not purposely put you to it. It's meant for you to learn something, and that is supposed to be your message to the world, to help the world. That's why you went through it. So I learned first faith in God. I tell you seriously, there were times I didn't even have food. I only had coins in my pocket, but total strangers will come give me food. I don't even ask them to give me food. They give me money. I didn't even ask for it. And I believe that is the grace of God, that God actually helped me during those time, because I was a good person. I did not harm anybody. I just went through circumstances. And what happened was, after going through all this homeless episode, I told myself, this is my life calling. I want to spend the rest of my life to help others, no matter what. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but when I was in a foreign country, I came back to Malaysia, and I started doing charity work. We started doing work with in the orphanage, going to homeless people. We did, after that, we went to Cambodia, do water pump projects, and a lot of projects came after that, including now we're doing with refugees. And that's my life calling. I see people in the similar situation. Like example, I give you like refugees, like refugees who has gone through war-torn incident, and then they don't know how to get to it. And a lot of them, like I just recently read, 40 migrant workers committed suicide because they couldn't handle the depression during COVID. Maybe they couldn't get money, they couldn't get a job. But actually, if they knew, if there was somebody there to hold out their hand and advise them, they wouldn't have committed suicide. Because I just tell you one story before I end this my sharing. We met Hassan. Hassan is a teen Syrian refugee. We met him when he was about 14 years old, about 2013, 2014. And he was, when we did a baking class for refugees and low income. So he came, and his family came, and then, but out of the whole crowd of people, 30 to 40 people who came, he is the one that he's shown, he shines out. He speaks in front of the crowd. He can get the crowd to sing, and he was very charming, and he can speak Malay and English, Malay even more fluent than us, So I was like so shocked, say, who is this guy? So what we did was, our standard practice, when we see a leader, somebody who's potential, we will go to their house and get to know them, their family. So we actually went, I remember we went to have lunch at Hassan's house. The mother cooked a lot of very nice food for us. And then we talked to the family, and then we found out their background. Then we found out the story of Hassan was, he went through a lot of challenges because in his hometown, he was a kid that time. He was playing in the field, right? And then he ran to the front, and there's a bomb that came into that field, exploded, and he blacked out, and he woke up in the hospital. So what he found out next was, he found out that his cousin, his friend got killed. His childhood friend got killed. And then the parents, out of fear, took them and ran to Malaysia, because that time Malaysia opened without any visa. You can just, the refugees can come and just stay here and then figure out what to do next, you know, like UNHCR card and all that. So, but people don't know that Hassan has that dark side where, you know, like he's very he has trauma, and then he has also like a lot of thoughts, like suicidal thoughts as well. And then, but what we did say, we were scared that he might do something, you know, like something to harm himself. So we actually sponsored him into our How to Be a Great Communicator program, where we work a lot of, our specialty is we do a lot of internal work. We do use neuro-linguistic programming, we use emotional freedom technique to actually help people to overcome abuse, trauma, even addiction, sometimes addiction to certain like smoking, alcohol and all this, you know. So we say, okay, we give Hassan 6 months to 1 year to overcome his trauma, and he can probably you know, pass by, and then he can just, you know, just start living a normal life. But in just 2 or 3 months, he exceeded our expectations. He started his own volunteer network, Al Hassan Volunteer Network, teaching language to refugees, and up to date, he has helped thousands of refugees with medical emergencies. For example, a refugee has to go to hospital and they cannot pay $30,000. He just informed his team and they can raise that $30,000 in a few days. He does that, you know. So I was so amazed at what he does, and after that, he actually got featured in a lot of media because he could speak Malay very well, and the media loved that kind of thing. And because he does a lot of social work, he followed us to feed the homeless before. He did a lot of social work. And one thing I see why Hassan was so successful that I always share with others, including not even people who are not refugees, because he was very giving. He helped people a lot, and he was very coachable and teachable. That means whatever we teach him, he applied in his life. And that is the two very key to success. You must be very humble to be able to learn from others, and also be giving to others, even though like there are times when we want to give money to Hassan, I want to give you this for helping us, you know, visit all the refugee houses. He said, no, don't give to me, give to those people who, other families who need it. But we know that actually he needs it, he needs the money, but he did not take it for himself. So that is one of the criteria that actually helped him to get out of that cycle. And now he's a TEDx speaker. You know, becoming a TEDx speaker not easy. I saw the criteria. He became a TEDx speaker, and now he's volunteering a lot with NGOs. He got a scholarship to study in a university locally. So I tell a lot of people who start from zero, like Mushida has her own story, 0, 2 ringgit to 20,000. If you don't have anything, do not commit suicide, because it's not the end of the world. We all have been there. We have been down. I've been hit. Hit rock bottom, but because of faith in God, because of good people, having good mentors, I was able to get out of my whatever depression, trauma that I have, you know. So to end it with one advice that I can give to the people out there is, don't think about yourself anymore, yourself alone. If you are well off, you have money, you have knowledge, go and volunteer your time to help these people, because sometimes they all need just one person that will change their life, and they will rethink about committing suicide or doing bad things to themselves. And that's what happened to me. Somebody reached out their hand to me, and it changed my whole life. So they can do that. You don't have to have helping thousands of people. You just have one person is enough to change their life, and that is actually you helping. And if 10,000 people do it, 100,000 people do, just help one person, it will create a ripple effect in the world.
Absolutely.
So I really believe in that, and I believe that let's all do our part to do something to help others, even if it's just one person.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, Karen here is here.
Karen,
Just want to welcome Karen. Karen is also the person who organizes the Kebaya Run. And which is aimed to end violence against women. So Karen, just introduce yourself.
We love what Karen does.
And please share.
Feel free.
Okay, so I'm always so impressed by the two of you, Zil and Mushida. And Pamela, you are so brave for speaking out from your past experiences. Some people in your situation won't even want to say, I was a previous sex worker. But you were so brave, you voiced it out, and there's never anything to be ashamed of what we've done. If we've moved forward, we just share our story so that people do not get into a condition that you had to go through. All right, so as Zil and Mushida practice, love and respect is actually very, very important. I'm so glad that the army officer came up to hug you while you were at the most crucial time. Like, I can imagine, we couldn't speak up, but instead of screaming and shouting, that
if we had done the opposite,
gentleness,
I would have done.
exactly,
I would have been a very
yeah,
different
you would have
person
been,
today, or
yeah,
I won't even be around. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just going to bring it back to people who are trapped in a violent tendency where they use it on their loved ones. I mean, specifically domestic violence or violence against women. Okay, so Pamela, I'm just going to let you know, we started this run. It's because it's more overall worldwide is about 2.3 million hike in domestic violence, and we couldn't. From a point of view as being women, it's difficult to watch, and so using our Malaysia Women Marathons platform, we thought we shouldn't be a bystander. We should speak about this issue more, and it becomes relevant in society because the bigger the voice is for women to know that there is an issue on violence, and it's just not just violence against women. There are girls who also are at the receiving end. There are children. There could also be boys, because you have some guys who did not get what Zil went through. So they have a tormented lifestyle, and that tormented lifestyle prolongs that violence. So they didn't get the love, they didn't get the respect, and they just prolong their lifestyle.
Sorry, Karen, I just share one thing, because I when you share that, when we visit a lot of children who has a lot of problems, like all these bullies, all these people who have disciplinary problems, like we counsel them, we find out that 90% of them comes from a family of violence. That means the husband bully the wife, they are very violent in their family, and 90% of the kids are that. So like we advise, right, it's the parenting that plays the most important role. That you as a parent, you must be able to be on the best conduct, and you also must be teaching and educating your kids so they don't do to other people. So I like what you said. The violence come from the family environment.
So because domestic violence became such an issue, we've got to break that cycle. If the child in the family sees violence in the family, they just prolong it, and for our generation, if we don't take one step, it's the next generation is going to accept it as a norm. Oh, okay, we expect men to be a bit violent, and this kind of patriarchal system is just makes no sense if women are given the opportunity. Right now, we have a path going to women gender equality. Okay, so there's more opportunity from women out there to climb the corporate ladder, hold ownership of land, but still we have this position where we look as if we are the weaker sex, and the tendencies for violence to be on us needs to be addressed. Okay, so fortunately for Malaysia Women Marathon, we have been around for 8 years. Let's just use this platform to voice out more that for us, I reckon love and respect, zeal, love and respect is a way to guide this generation into the next generation so that we can stop that violence. If you don't mind me highlighting something that we heard over our own Zoom sessions, we had some Zoom sessions with some social workers, and it was shocking to hear the most extreme case. So one of the social worker, it's just going to be very lurid, it's going to be very shocking. Okay, so apparently, blades, the shaving blades, it was being used on some women. And I'm not going to describe it, but it was being used at a place where you do not want it to be at. Okay, but that's how extreme that violence was to that woman. I'm not going to even explain or describe the pain she must have been. Okay, so it is disgusting, it's disrespectful, there's no there's no love at all. So we don't know what has happened to that guy. We don't know what kind of environment he lives in. Go through an experience with love and respect, like what Zil had. It changed his life. So maybe I would like to ask Zil, do you think with people like this, okay, I'm talking about people who from the different social background, people who maybe of a lower education background or a lower income background. I'm not saying that they did not get the opportunity, but because of their lifestyle and their social environment there, they may not get as much opportunity as we received. If there is a link, a nexus where we can guide them through love and respect, I think a lot of this community work should be approached. Yeah. What do you think? Do you think we can use love and respect to change this kind of mentality in this group of men who use force on women?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And this is something I've worked with. I work with abused women and shelters and women and children. And some of the social workers told me that some of the kids are very violent because they copy the father, right? And they're angry also because they've been pulled away from their father and they're having to live with the mother and they hate the mother, all right? So I work with some of these children, and there was one time there was an 8-year-old boy. He actually broke a whole sliding door, the hard sliding door.
Yeah.
He could break that with, he
was
was that angry,
right?
8 years old. He was that
Yeah.
angry. So after we did the session, and it just took me about 2 or 3 sessions with him, and the social workers were so amazed that he was so polite. He started to do his housework and he started to hug his mother, and it just takes love to instill back. Children is a lot easier to work with. With adults, it takes a process, but it is something that has to be done over and over again, and becomes part of their habit, part of their thinking, and part of their behavior. So love and respect is something that is us, each and every one of us, going back to our core, who we are originally as babies. All of us born, children are innocent, loving. It's been programmed in them, their belief system, their habits, behavior, their languaging, all this is programmed. So going back to love and respect, it does take a massive amount of awareness, and each and every one of us doing our own parts to transform the world. And that can be changed. I do see hope, but it takes effort on each and every one of us.
And
so I would like,
it begins with the family, because the family unit is where all these problems start. So like we must, for us, all of us must play a very role in educating. For example, I've always had this I always tell the schools, I taught in my early days of training, I taught in a lot of schools. So I said, when you do programs, you cannot do a one-off program for students or even for parents alone. You must do a holistic where it must be involved students, parents and teachers, because it must be a whole ecosystem. Sometimes the student learn something, they get motivated, they go back home, and then the parents put cold shower on them. Like I had classes where I was teaching one girl, the parents refused to give her food because she got from 90 something to just still A, but A minus, didn't give her food. To that extent, so I told her, okay, there's one technique that I use, maybe a lot of people can benefit, that I share with you guys. We use a technique called ball of love. This ball of love is based on the science of energy. Okay, science of energy, because love and respect, why we use love, because love has one of the highest energy, because you can actually measure energy. Love and respect has the highest energy. So what I told the girl was, you always think of good things, loving things, whatever, and then you think it as a ball of love that surrounds your body. But this ball of love not only surrounds you, it can be gifted to somebody else. You can give it to somebody else, So I asked her to imagine that every night you imagine good things and you give this ball of love to your parents, even not physically, but imaginally you give that ball, because it's an energy transfer. And after
it's rolling. It's rolling forward.
The class with her for so long, and then after we finished the last class, she told, my parents have changed so much because now they are more understanding of what I do. They can accept when I talk to them, they can accept. Last time they cannot even, if I say something, even one word, they will punish me, but now they can at least have a dialogue. And this thing that we do, not only with one person, we have done with hundreds of people from enemies fighting with each other. We do this ball of love, they can become best friends, and a lot of other cases, So we believe that if every one of us, we live our life with love and respect, with the energy, there's very strong energy, and we spread to others in terms of smiling, in terms of giving contribution of money, or even volunteering our time, we actually spread this energy to as many people as possible. And the higher the
Yeah.
energy is on that vibration, the better the world becomes.
Yes.
So that's why we are trying to raise
Okay.
the vibration.
Yeah.
Mushida
All right.
has some
So
questions.
we have a list of questions here, and maybe we can, because we have 5 minutes left, can we maybe invite
Questions.
Pamela and anyone of
Karen,
you
yeah.
who wants to come and share? Parisa is asking, to what experiences can we say trauma? What is your take on that?
Sorry, what experiences?
Yeah. What experiences? Maybe the question. Okay, I'll redefine the question based on my understanding. What would you say would define trauma? What kind of experiences would define trauma to you?
I think in terms of trauma, it's when a person is has this feeling of being hurt emotionally, mentally, as well as physically. So in any form, it can be physical, mental, or emotion. When they are hurt so badly that they start to withdraw from themselves, withdraw from people around them, and withdraw from the world. That to me is what trauma is about.
Yeah. You have to close.
Okay, thank you, Pamela, for sharing. Okay, let's get some more questions that people ask.
For me, Parisa, trauma is something when they see something, they can feel it. They feel it in their body. It
It's real to
affects
them.
Because your brain is very clever. Your brain remembers things even from the womb. So when let's say even when you are conceived and your mother is feeling sad or angry, the child can feel it and they can carry the guilt for the rest of their lives. A mother pregnant or going through maybe violence or maybe an accident or something, that fear can also be passed to the child. So trauma can be as much as that. And it can be simple things like somebody so called it, like Zil was saying, somebody say you are not good or you are not whatever. It carries for the rest.
You are stupid or
and
something.
it carries with you for the rest of your life. And it can even things like Pamela, you going through things like somebody wanted money and saying that you are useless and all that. That is a traumatic incident because wanting to do something different, once you are reminded of the fear, the pain. And when I work with clients, this is the main fear, money. Because in the past, something like you owe people money, you couldn't pay, and somebody make you feel small, that can be also traumatic. Or some money lender will be like, oh, you got threats and all that. That is even a bigger trauma that people need to overcome. So the next time they see an opportunity to make money or they can make money on their own, they will self-sabotage. That would be a traumatic experience because it affects the rest of your life, right? So trauma can come in different ways. Could be an accident, could be an experience, but it affects your belief and it becomes part of your life, and it's part of how you live your life. And when we talk about abuses, it's probably most likely something traumatic that happened to them in the past. It can be from generations, even some beliefs even before they were born that was passed down through generations. Their grandfather did to their grandmother, and that whatever is passed down, and the mother was pregnant and she viewed that it's passed down. That belief, that energy is passed down to the child. So that could also be a traumatic experience, and they act it out in their life. They start beating up people. They say this is love. And why women allow men to hit them as well, it's also because of that they feel that this is what a relationship is. This is what marriage is. And I've even had people saying that it's normal for husband and wife to fight, but not the way they fight. But to them, because that is a belief,
that is the reality.
So again, all of this comes to something negative that actually affects them, and this can be defined as trauma. I hope that answers your question, Farisa. And as long as you identify certain feelings in your body that you want to get rid of it, it's not adding value to your life, that is where we, with sane minds, and you an adult, you can make a conscious decision to actually reprogram a lot of things.
The good news is in our study of neurolinguistic programming and all the sciences, that it can be reversed. It can be reprogrammed. For example, just like a computer that has viruses, has wrong programming, wrong coding, it can be changed. Our brain can be used the same. That's what we did with Hassan and few other people. Actually, it can be done, but that person must be willing to meet us halfway. That means they must be willing to say, okay, I want to change and I'm willing to work with you. But if they resist, then the process will not happen. It will take much longer, or it will not happen itself.
Yeah.
So to answer Karen's question just now, how we can spread this love and respect, we can actually we saw this case of a lot of suicides, right? So I talked to Pamela, I talked to some people in my community, what can we do? So we are actually in the future, we're planning to run a lot of talks on mental health and get different speakers to share about their experience, how they actually overcome mental health. And then we invite as many people as possible. And we're not going to charge a single cent. We can do on Zoom. People can come, different experts can share, and then people in the audience can ask questions. So that's one way that we can pay it forward to help them to start off with by spreading love and respect. Then later on, when we have more resources, we can do on a bigger scale.
Oh yeah. And then Karen, can I read your question for Pamela also? Karen asked, Pamela, will you say the patriarchal system we are in disrupt our progress to move up the corporate ladder, like what you were saying in the past? What is your take on that?
Okay, I think for moving up the corporate ladder, right? I think there is always, to me, it's about a strategy. I spoke to quite a number of my friends who actually survived in the corporate world, and I realized that it is all about having a strategy, having allies, having having a group that can support you and help you in that journey. Because if you're all alone, I think it will be very tough. So you need that. You need a strategy. You need really having your a few of your good friends that can support you in that corporate situation. Because there are times when people will do whatever it takes just for them to climb up to the next ladder. And as long as you know who they are, you just stop associating with them, and in that circle find allies that you feel you can work together and support each other in that situation. It will be a much better way for you to survive that situation.
We're back to love and respect, right? Zil and Mushida, we're back to love and respect. We're back to love and respect.
Absolutely.
Antoine, any other questions?
Yes. Actually, even if when I do when I do training for corporates, I have a 2-day training called Overcoming Office Politics. So there is an arts and science of behind it, and then reprogram love and respect into the whole organization. Okay, we have a lot of other questions. Amy said, did encouragement from external factors help you heal?
Yes, I would say that is a very important factor. I think in my journey of healing, the person that really helped me was my husband. So back then when I was really hopeless, I didn't know who I could trust anybody. He was the one who was always constantly encouraging me, looking at the positive side, talking to me. He would ask me to open up, because I used to be someone that I close myself up completely. I would never open up and share my story or my perspective. Even when I'm sad or I'm angry or whatever, I would just close myself up and I don't open myself. But because of him, he kept encouraging me. He kept, I think it was love. To me, a very important thing that really changed me was his unconditional love for me. That was really a moving point for me, because without that love, I would probably not be able to walk up and stand up again. I think that support is very, very important for everyone out there. We all need someone to be there for us. We all need someone to love us for who we really are, not judging us for our past, not judging us for the things that we did, not judging us for our mistakes. And that is the core. And it is really about love that really, I was very touched. It's just love. He just constantly gave me the love, the encouragement, the support that eventually helped me to also walk in my path, in my healing journey.
So amazing.
Yeah, it's just like, is husband here? Pamela, is your husband here? Can he come into the picture?
Maybe the
Well, I
next
see the little boy, but I didn't see the husband.
Next time we do Karen, we do a relationship talk and then invite Pamela and
Yeah,
her husband.
yeah.
Oh my
I mean,
different, the man's
it's like
perspective, right?
amazing.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
amazing. Yeah, that
Yeah, because
unconditional
there's so
love.
much toxicity out there in the world right now, and everybody is so judgmental. Everybody has something to say. Everybody is moving in they just want to be heard, and when they want to be heard, they become this in a sense they come overcome their lacking of something with louder voice that may be disrespectful to the others. But
Yeah.
yeah, coming back to love and respect is so much more vital to get people to do something.
Yes,
It's more
absolutely,
productive. It
absolutely.
is more productive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Just thank you very much, Karen, Pamela. I just want to share one thing. Somebody commented, right? They're also asking about topics on financial and savings. People asking. So I think it's a
What's that?
good Ida from Ida.
From Ida Norida,
yeah.
Zil, this time, what topic? Something about,
Yeah.
oh,
Financial
okay.
and savings. I feel that is important as well. You know why? Because a lot of the problems in the family is because of poverty. When you in extreme poverty, like we go to those, I went to those low cost houses in they call it the PPP flats, the low cost housing. A lot of problems come from there because extreme poverty. You know, like they are so claustrophobic in the house. The parents are always fighting, and they don't have a lot of money, and they're always fighting about money. So I think one of the topics that can actually find a solution to this kind of domestic violence or abuse is educating the family on how to manage their finances, how to find other sources of income. Say, for example, if your job is not enough for your family income, you actually can do a lot of other things. You can become a freelancer. You can earn money other way, but because they're not educated on that, that's why they only resort to one thing that they know, which is work. You know, and they work like long hours, but actually they can, if they are educated and they know better, they can actually find income in other ways. Yeah. So that might be our future talks that we do.
Money
We'll talk
mindset.
about how the money and the finances affect our life,
Yeah.
including our relationship, our business, and everything that we do. Yeah.
And very importantly, it's a lot to do with forgiveness. And what I realize is that the people have roadblocks in their business and all that. It's a block somewhere in terms of forgiveness. They could not forgive a particular person. So when I guide them through that healing process, then suddenly, oh wow, Mushida, I closed one deal, one customer, you know, like $5,000 and all that, which before the customer was already there, but it's just that deal was not closed, and it's because of the block, the energy block. So I think Pamela's story just now also, it started from not being educated financially and not being, aware that there are opportunities. Same like me and Zil, when I went through my last business, I lost so much money. I was $150,000 in debt, and because I had a really crappy money mindset, it was all about, oh, I need to get money from my father, I need this,
borrow
and
money here,
borrow
money
here,
there,
borrow there, and it got me into bigger debt as well, and that also has affected my life. But once I'm educated about this, so much easier, mindset wise, opportunities wise, being creative, creating money, creating opportunities, it's so possible. And one of the things that I just want to share also before we close is that I remember when I was really down in my life, and what I hear from Pamela's story just now was like, it reminded me of this, right? And I know if Pamela, you can back me up from your own past experience also about this. When you are really down, right, really, really down, like teruk, as in you don't think anything can go further, right? I noticed there are two types of people that came up, right? Two types. One is the kind of person who will make your life more difficult, right? And that was
your life worse.
Was your last partner, business partner. He knows that you're already struggling. He took the money and he made life more difficult for you. There are people like that, and I went through that. I was struggling, and people started commenting, started adding blogs, started to break up a lot of my own relationships and all that, family relationships, marriage even. And then there's another person another type of person that also rise up, the type that just wants to help no matter what, unconditionally, and don't even ask for anything back in return. So, and when I was down at that time, I told myself, when I come out of this, I want to be that second person where I will be able to help people and without make things worse for people, but help people and not ask anything back in return. They just need to do something for their themselves, so their own selves. So that is a different level of love and respect, because like
I think it sounds like what you both are doing right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So
and
we went
Pamela as
through,
well.
we went through ourselves,
Yeah.
right?
Actually,
Yeah,
I totally
and
agree. Yeah,
and
I
you're
totally
paying it
agree
forward.
because
Yeah, it sounds
when you are
like
able to give value and add more value to people, your life will just shift. Your life will just automatically be better, no matter
Mm.
how bad you are. Like,
Mm.
because I came out from my personal experience. So now whenever I look at others who need help, if I can, I would always do my best to help them, because it is when you are able to add more value to people, and that is where your life will also shift.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Like for myself, right?
Yes.
If I was not bullied, I was not homeless, I was not a runaway youth or all this, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So I see all these things that happen to me, even though it's really bad, but it's a blessing because it gave me that mindset of I want to help others because I've been to the hardship. And when I see other people going through that, I cannot stand it. I cannot just
Yeah.
look a
Yeah.
blind eye. Whereas people who hasn't been through it, they just maybe somebody else can help them. But for me, I cannot. When I see a homeless person or I see somebody who's struggling, and I share these stories, very horror stories, all this abuse, trauma, I cannot just sit still and do nothing because I've been through it. So for us, Pamela, Karen, they maybe have her own story, Mushira has her own story. Because we have been through it, it's a blessing in disguise, actually. God is very fair. God is never oppressive. God will never be unfair to us. We have been through it. There is a reason for it, and that's our purpose, that we need to leave a legacy before we leave this world. Yeah.
Bulu
Wow.
Roma. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So last question
Yeah.
is Amy asked, how do I start the healing process? Maybe Pamela can share. What do you do? The first thing for you, like
start the healing
to
process.
healing.
For me, I think for me, when I first started, it was just getting out all the stuck emotions in me.
Mm.
Whatever emotions that I was feeling, like I had a lot of guilt, I had a lot of shame,
Mm.
I had a lot of unforgiveness, I had a lot of hatred. You know, all these emotions that were stuck in my body were all causing me to not being able to move forward. So wherever you are, you need to identify what is that emotion that is causing you to be stuck. It could be, or even love. Are you loving yourself? Right? A lot of people, they don't love themselves. They probably, it could be what they see. Their parents are loving everybody else but loving themselves, and they just copy from what they saw, and didn't realize that, oh, actually I need to love myself, right? So the first thing I will do is to identify what is the emotion that is causing you to be stuck in whatever you are having, and then look for ways to heal yourself. Like for me, there are videos like on emotional freedom techniques online, right? Which people can use. Is a tapping to help you get rid of your emotions. There are also many other healing videos on YouTube. Now that's with the YouTube, actually, it's really very good because people have access more information that they have access to that can actually help themselves. So first, you need to identify, you need to be aware. And second is you need to want to let go. If you resist letting go, then you will not be able to heal yourself. I think you have to really say, yes, it no longer serves me. I want to let it go. I want to get it out of my body, and I want to move forward. And when you make that decision, you will be amazed that all the resources will come to you. When you want to do that, like for me, it was the same. When I made a decision that I wanted to heal myself, even though I may not have the money back then, miracles happen. Miracles happen for me. And that is why I always tell people, the first thing is be aware. And second thing is make a decision. Make a decision that you want to heal yourself. And the universe will just show you all the resources that you need.
Yeah. Yes, thank you for sharing, Pamela. Exactly.
Yeah.
That first healing is that forgiveness,
Yeah.
letting go of and acknowledging that, and then letting go of that stuff.
Yeah, and then don't be scared to ask for help from others. Like there's a
yeah.
lot of organizations that actually helps, like befrienders or this. You can just give that a call, or if you know anybody who can help, we can Jewel. Then we can actually recommend people to actually reach out to somebody. Don't just do it. Don't face it alone. Yeah.
Okay. So I think what we'll do is we're gonna end the session because it's been such an amazing sharing.
Yeah, even a short time, but so impactful, right?
Yes. So Pamela, do you have any last words, or maybe how can people get in touch with you?
Okay, I've actually set up a group, a Facebook group, to help people with emotional healing. I will be sharing the link. So if you guys are interested to find out more, do come in and join, so that, you know, I'll be sharing more about the various emotions, how you could let go of emotions, and how you can heal yourself in the journey. Yeah.
Very, very important. Thanks very much. Well, thank you, Pamela. Okay, Karen, any updates, or what do you want to share with?
Okay, from the run, so we've collected close to 30,000 of fundraising money there. So this is a good progress. Yeah, and I think it's really good to introduce Pamela to maybe people from Jewel or all those abused women whom they have helped to reconnect on emotional healing. And Pamela, you will be a great role model for a lot of people. Yeah, you will be
Awesome.
Thank you.
And I think we are slimming down as well because we're running a little bit more than usual. So we'll be looking a little bit more slim. Zil, are you looking more slim?
Still slimmer. I am working on it. I think I lost 1 kilo, isn't it? Okay, my goal is 5 kilos.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got your Facebook group.
We can share the Facebook.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Karen, for coming on. Thank you, Pamela, for sharing and stepping up and offering assistance and light to a lot of people out there. And we'd like to also thank Jewel for, you know, doing what they're doing. Jewel Malaysia, they're doing amazing work. So you can also donate. They can donate through the Women's Marathon participation, right, Karen? Yeah, so they can, there is a link there that they can also just donate to.
Just go to www.mwm.my. Okay, so just go to www.mwm, and MWM stands for Malaysia Women Marathon.my. That's it. Very easy to remember your link. Yeah, and I want to say something, Zil and Mushida. I think the two of you are doing such great job. I am very fortunate to get to know you, to be in your circle. I thank you for always. It's amazing, and I can hear the little boy at the back.
Yes, he's so cute.
No worries. Yes, you know. Yeah, sometimes we have a Zoom session.
Working mom,
Pamela, you don't have to worry because some of the women politicians, the parliamentarians, they carry their baby to parliaments and breastfeed the baby there. We should all be doing this more.
Yes.
It's respect. Yeah, it's respect that we should have. We don't do this, then it doesn't become a norm. Then everybody will feel uncomfortable, especially the men. But if you do this often, the man will say, she's just breastfeeding, nothing. You know, it becomes part of our lifestyle and our routine.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
and
Zil and
everyone
Mushida.
should be very
Thank you so much.
Recommend.
Thank you.
I want to add one thing before we end is if you you see, because mental health has symptoms. That means that people, when they don't talk, from very bubbly, they become very quiet, they're very drawn in, and then they don't talk to people, and then they start hurting themselves. There is a lot of telltale signs. So I see you must observe your family member. Don't wait for people to harm themselves. You must be very aware that in your family circle, look at your family circle. If anybody facing depression or mental health, you must go and help them. Take an active. So if everybody play their part, to be on the lookout for people who have mental health problems, then we can solve this problem together. Don't wait for a party to help. We take initiative. Anybody in our circle that is facing all these things, look for that signs, and if we go and help them. If we cannot help personally, like long term, we recommend them to Jewel or recommend to people that can actually help them in the long run.
Exactly.
So if all of us do our part, we spread love and respect, I think a lot of problems in the world can be solved.
Exactly. And love and respect means mainly three things, which is one, forgiveness.
Mhm.
Two is being grateful, and number three is being giving. Right. So that's what you do. All these things in your life. That is love and respect already.
Your life will
Yeah.
change.
Forgive, great gratitude, and giving. So with that, thank you so much everyone for watching and all your questions. You can still post your questions. We'll address it. Yeah, we'll answer it in the stream. And then also we'll be creating more watch parties. So do register for the Kebaya Run. Do go into Pamela's. Pamela.
Yeah.
How can they get your book? How can they get your book?
You have a book, Pamela. Wow.
Yeah, I have.
How can people get your book?
Okay. I think the ebook version is available on the various platforms. For international market, yeah. And unless they want a physical book, they can connect with me.
Yeah. Okay. Get into Pamela's group. I think once you get into Pamela's group, it's easier for her to know where you live, where you come from. Yeah. And yes, you are being streamed here in the Malaysian Women's Marathon group, Facebook group, and you are streamed here on the Love and Respect Community Zills and my pages. So you can always get in touch with us. Any questions, any sharing on how we all can grow together collectively to further spread love and respect and end violence against women at all causes. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Lots of love.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.